Epoch contains fantasy violence, mature themes, and occasional swearing. Epoch contains D&D actual play and is part of the Faith and Geekery livestream and podcast and its wider community. So why not like, follow, subscribe, and join the Discord? And now, sit back and enjoy some questionable accents, poor dice rolls, and hopefully a wild and whimsical journey.
In a fantasy world, on the continent of Albion, in the queendom of Lyonesse, amidst the smouldering embers of an age-old battle between the divine and the void, we begin our story in a small village of Boyfin. An unsuspecting party of misfits begin their journey.
Wait, no! This is Epoch Around the Fire! Hello, folks. Hello, folks. Welcome to a little bit of a different kind of epoch. This is Epoch Around the Fire. Our little video, that was the first time for some of us watching it. And in fact, for all of us watching it, I just rendered it and let it go. So welcome.
It was dual audio this time, I noticed.
I know, I've worked that feature out. But yeah, welcome to Epoch Around the Fire, which is an opportunity for us to informally chat a little bit more about our characters, the campaign, and things like this. When this lands, I believe kind of chapter 6 will have landed. Are we on chapter 11 of recording or something like that?
That sounds right.
Yeah,
but...
it's yeah, we've had to kind of
remember.
Exactly. We've had to refresh our memories back towards the episode, but I can say this with certainty. This was a good one, especially to talk about. So welcome to Epoch. I should go around the room, or should I say around the fire, which this artwork has been fantastically created by Oscar, and I'm sure we can put some details out at some point about that, there, and it's fantastic. It really is fantastic stuff. So this was for our Comic-Con stuff, but it is an awesome picture indeed. So my name is Mark and I play Nugget. Anybody else would like to introduce themselves as we mooch around the fire?
I'm Brandon, and I am Kargoth.
Fantastic.
Simultaneously.
You're talking. You go.
I am Becca, and I play Minerva.
And I'm Shelby, and I play Killian.
Woo!
Fantastic. And so hopefully folks will have kind of picked up on these episodes so far. Hopefully that you're not tuning into this one first. Be a little bit,
that would be weird.
Confused.
Go back.
Yeah, go back
Reverse.
to chapter one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an opportunity.
Chapter 1.
It would be it would be good. Should we go around and explain a little bit our characters, or should we have a little bit of a blurb to help us? Or a dice roll?
I mean,
dice roll
Dungeons and Dragons,
it is D&D.
Dice roll. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, should we? I'm going to get you to roll, and then as you roll, you can talk about your character, your class, and the kind of background of them and that sort of thing. Just basics. But then that'll give me time to pull up a chart, which I'm taking from dndspeak.com, which has got 100 kind of questions to ask. So I'm going to go with, in fact, I should really just do like a D4 just to kind of go straight up at it, shouldn't I, really? So I'm going to roll a D4, and everybody in this group should be able to see it. I'm going to go around clockwise, starting at Brandon Kargoth 1, Shelby Killian 2, Becca 3, me 4. So I'm going to roll it to everyone. Did that roll to everyone? 1, Kargoth, you go first.
Wait, I'm 1.
You're the number one.
All right.
So can you roll a D100 for us, please?
How many is that? I'm kidding. I'm not that low on intelligence, but I am low. Okay, so I am a orc beastmaster. I
Cool.
get to shoot the bow and play with animals. So I am going to roll. And what do I have? Ooh, 39.
Cool, 39. And it says here, it says, is there any particular weapon, item, etc., that your character longs to find?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Other than probably a new mold for meat pies to give them on. No.
Oh my gosh.
Besides that, probably a nice, good axe or two. I've always liked the idea of dual wielding axes and kind of like a Rain of Fire with the dragons, where he's jumping off the tower with the axes. That's always a good scene.
So, leaning into this question a little bit more, so does this kind of define kind of Kargoth, your character? Is this kind of like, is he a violent creature?
He's orc. Violence is our middle name, but since he's been with humans and other races for a while, he's slowly tried to veer away from it, especially after one-shotting that hyena in one of the earlier episodes. It's kind of wears on him a little bit, especially now that we're in chapter 6, and the whole discussion that we've had in chapter 6. So
Yeah, we'll come on to that a little bit more in a bit.
yeah, I don't want to give too much away.
I feel as if Shelby's already lost your dice, have you?
Sorry, I did. I dropped it.
That's okay. Shall we head towards you, Killian, then, if you've
Yeah.
if you've got your dice to hand now?
Of course, I do. I picked him up. So Killian is playing a halfling druid, and I am joined by y'all. My favorite number just rolled.
20?
My lucky number and my favorite number, 27.
Oh, I think it was
That's wild.
Cool. And the question is, what is your character's greatest fear? Deep, irrational.
Ooh, like a deep. I feel like those would be two separate things, like a
Yeah,
deep fear and irrational fear. Oh my gosh, I've never
You can choose one. Choose one.
Okay, cool, because I've never really thought about this. The most obvious fear is that Killian has maybe a bit of a sort of toxic dependence on his sibling, his half-sibling, of sort of like wherever his sibling goes, which is played by Tim Baker, which is Hildefon, who's not here today. But wherever sort of Hildy goes, Killian is sort of like, I have to go with you. Like, our parents have died. So kind of like you're all I have left, and it's like a weird kind of toxic codependence bit. So like the fear is like if Killian is ever not with Hildy in like a expansive time, like he's done like day trips and like a couple like weekend trips away, but for the most part he's always within like I know I can go a couple doors down, and Hildy is always there. So it's sort of like I feel like that would be sort of his fear.
Cool. And so leaning into that a little bit, then, is that when you were choosing to create the characters, liaising with Tim, maybe, was that like a new challenge to have siblings, or is that something you've done before? Or
I don't know if I'm necessarily the most experienced Dungeons and Dragons player out of all of us. Depends on hours.
I've only played 2
I think it's between you and Tim.
Yeah, I will say, I think I'm more experienced than Tim, too. I would say I'm probably the most experienced. I've never actually played where I had like a familial connection with another player. And so it's very new to me, and I really wanted to like dig deep into that so that we would have like a almost a conjoined backstory. Although if you listen to episode 6, we never talked about the fact that like, so for the longest time, Killian can barely read, didn't even know that Hildy could read. And so like that was like kind of fun things of like, about your siblings, like you don't know certain aspects about them. So it was exciting to sort of talk about, like we had to figure out, okay, so we're half siblings, so who is the shared parent? So we've decided that the dad is the shared parent, and then just sort of different traits surrounding that. So it's actually really exciting to be able to be like, hey, this is part of my backstory. Do you think it fits with your backstory? Yeah. Okay, cool.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Do you want to go next, Becca, or shall I?
Yeah, I can go next. What are we doing again?
D100, and then explaining.
You want me to roll a D? Yeah, that's what it was. Doing the 2 things.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, I just want you to do it once. Oh no, I've clicked it 3 times. It's going to give you
Which one would you like me to
300.
run with?
What number calls out to you the most?
142. Let's go with the middle one, 37.
It's insight
37.
all over again.
Oh, interesting. That's a really rubbish one. Anyway, okay, let's ask it anyway. It says, what stereotypical role would your character play in a high school if they attended a normal high school? Brackets, nerd, jock, bully, goth, etc.
Oh.
Minerva is clearly the class president.
I don't know that she feels. I don't know. I think like the where you have clubs after school that kind of do the horticultural stuff. Kind of it's slightly nerdy, sciencey, kind of slightly on the edges, but something practical and physical.
Cool.
But not sports.
So I was almost tempted to ask whether it would be like more holistic, but I don't want it to be a judgy thing.
It doesn't fit in high school, does it? In our stereotype.
No, that's true.
That's more Hildefon
cool.
anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, Hildefon is the stoner guy. Like, he's the guy that gets you things.
Holistic.
Yeah. Okay.
In speech bubbles. And anything else to add about Minerva?
Minerva's a Firbolg. I quite like Firbolg backgrounds. Their magic comes from their ancestors having imbibed it from ancient forests. So there's this deep connection with wild spaces, and related to giants as well. And there's
cool.
that kind of sense of not magic dwindling, but kind of having settled into the deep bones of it all. So it's not in your face, punch your nose kind of magic. It's the imbibed natural stuff, which I quite like about them.
Oh, good.
You know, I didn't mention it, but my halfling has a tail, which is not a normal like a normal D&D character, or even most fantasy characters. There's a very niche subsection of people who like halflings, hobbits to have tails. I'm in that section.
Why?
Very good.
I just feel like that makes them more whimsy to have a tail.
It does make it whimsy.
And especially the kind of tail. So it's like, I imagine a long, long tail, but then tuft at the end that matches their hair. Because in D&D,
do anything?
No, it's not prehensile. It has no special features because it's all like in the D&D world. It's called flavor.
Okay.
It doesn't have any special features.
Any purpose.
Yeah, because in like rules as written for Dungeons and Dragons, halflings don't have tails. So it's very much if you've got a dungeon master who's willing to be like, oh, sure, your character has a tail. Sure. That can fit. Why does it fit? That kind of thing.
When you say about that and about the actual tail itself, it reminds me of like a sub cartoon from, I want to say, the Care Bears. And there was like some creatures that had like the little tails like that. And I can't for the life of me think what it is. But never mind. So really pointless bit of information.
Now that's going to bug me the whole episode. I'll talk to you guys later after I do my research.
Yeah. Have a presentation. I expect a PowerPoint.
Maybe I should have said that. I want to say like the waffle lumps or something. No, something like that.
Oh, puffle. Yes.
I feel as if they
and you could there were the popples. You could turn them inside out, and they would like different.
It's annoying me. Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, sorry for throwing that annoyance to everybody. But glad that you
Faith and Geekery trivia.
I am going to roll for Nugget.
Yes.
Nugget is at the beginning of this episode. He actually says that he's a wizard, but we will find out that that's not quite true, but he is a magic bringer. And I have rolled 48, I do believe. Ooh. And that says, what aspect of your character's future are they most curious about? If they could know one thing about the future, what would it be?
How big the fireballs get.
Could I potentially drop a spoiler there?
Oh, you'll have to put a spoiler alert.
So the spoiler there is that he's actually a sorcerer. And so we find that out very shortly. And it is just kind of making sense of his abilities and otherwise, but he is on a bigger journey about trying to work out where his heritage is from, and so far
we don't necessarily know what Nugget is necessarily.
No.
He's about the size of a halfling, but isn't.
Yeah, so he's
quite...
4 foot technically, and I quite like this. That
double my height, so
really,
I'm like 2'6".
Oh yeah, that's 6 inches is good. No, I think there's something here about one thing I wanted to kind of talk through with Tim, our DM, is that kind of going, isn't it fascinating that when we kind of all know our backstories and all know the intricate kind of like DNA kind of otherwise, and I've just liked this idea, and this is part of his journey, is that, you know, what happens if you don't genuinely know what race you are, what your background is, and so therefore I just find that really more intriguing, rather than kind of just assuming that all is well and all is good, and oh look, you know, this is what sort of person I am. I know it's a bit meta, and I know it kind of breaks it down a little bit, but I think that's more of his mystery, and this is more about his identity. So
it's not like there's 23andMe in this D&D world. we can't just take a DNA swab and figure it out.
Yeah, but then I think for me that's kind of then leans into what makes him and his identity, because and again, oh yeah, this is annoying, isn't it? I can't remember when I dropped about his name as well. This is the name that has been given to him, Nugget,
but we don't know what his
but it's actually from a really horrible boss, and so you know, he doesn't really know a lot about his heritage at all, his history, and I think part of this is him learning to work out what sort of character he is, what sort of person he is, but also what contributes to making him good, bad, indifferent, or otherwise. So I kind of really like that, and also kind of this whole finding out that he's a sorcerer, that he has some magic within him, is part of his journey, and an acceptance of who he is, perhaps. But yeah, I thought it was just a nice way in, rather than just coming in with definites.
You're actually playing like a one shot that I've done where none of the players knew what they were, and they had to figure it out through the session. I had the character sheets, and I would sort of explain to them as they go, oh, you get this because you're this. But you're playing it hard mode, kind of.
That is hard mode.
That's basically
I just stand in the corner rocking for that.
Go on, Kalgoth.
I've been trying to find excuses and reasons to use the abilities that he got when we all felt it after episode 1 or 2. You know, like, how does he know he can communicate with animals? No one's told him. He has to offer them food. Well, you're not going to feed every animal you find, and the one animal I did feed took it and ran. So it's like, you know. So I've been trying to find ways.
Is that like the cats in Minecraft?
Yeah. Pretty much. So I've been trying to find ways of triggering those abilities. Like the healing one was trying to mimic you and healing Hildefon when he got speared. You know? So I grabbed a flower and did it, except my flower didn't die or anything. It was like, but I don't heal that way. But I won't know that until I try to heal again. And I find out I'm out of spell slots.
Why isn't it working?
But that
don't work no more.
That is part of this, isn't it? About kind of playing the game, using the system, and at the same time trying to bring the innocence of being the character rather than completely metagaming. I think a little bit later on in the episodes, I do metagame at one point, and I kind of go, but I think hopefully Tim, the DM, has kind of let me off on that. But yeah, it's part of that kind of journey that Nugget is on, and I guess this is that balance of how we do it, really. Is there anybody else wanting to talk about their characters, backstories, or otherwise, or would you like me to pull a question out of the hat? And I say that about I've got 4 questions for from our DM, if we'd like to have any of these. 1, 2, 3, or 4.
We could all go around with question number 1.
Okay, so why your class?
Mine's very easy to answer. Tim didn't want me to be a bard.
Fair enough.
I wanted to be a bard.
Why didn't Tim want you to be a bard?
He wanted me to play a druid. And so I was just like, I guess I could do that. Yeah, no. My very first class was a cleric, actually, which is kind of funny. I think out of all of us, I'm the least religious, and yet my favorite class in Dungeons and Dragons is a cleric, especially about the whole devotion to a deity or something of faith along that lines. And so I was sort of leaning on that. I think me and Tim Baker sort of decided early on that we were gonna be siblings, and I didn't have a class in mind at that point. We just sort of like chose, what if we're siblings? What if we have some kind of connection to go into this already? So then he chose cleric. So then I was like, well, shoot, I can't do that. Bard. And then Tim was like, no. And so I was like, well, okay, fine. I won't do a bard. But I picked druid instead, just as it's more, I just feel like it made more sense because we're trying to sort of think about this in terms of with the divine in the show itself of Epoch. And I don't want to sort of be false to myself as a player. So I want to think of like, what can I bring to the idea of the divine in the sense that makes that seems more legitimate. Legitimate's not the word. The word I'm looking for is not in my brain right now. But I want to do something of like, I can lean into this. I can lean into the fact that
authenticity,
nature,
isn't it?
Yeah, that's the word. Authenticity. Thank you. I can lean into sort of the nature aspect of things and the well, my brain is not working today, but the sort of a rock is a rock, a tree is a tree. It's a definite. It's always going to be there, like the cycles of life and stuff like that. So that's something that I was like happy to lean into, and then just the fact that I can turn into an animal. It's a bonus.
Yeah, that's always nice.
That is very cool.
I know. Cool. I was like, how do I bring that in without knowing that I can turn into an animal? I sneeze. But yeah. Yeah. That's sort of like, I originally wanted to be a bard just because I think bards are a lot of fun. In like classic Dungeons and Dragons games, bards are usually the like, I'm gonna go fornicate with a dragon, which I don't typically play bards that way. Mine are more like, the party is upset right now and I need to make everybody feel better. But so like, because I think we all knew going in that something was going to happen to our hometown. Like that was sort of the purpose of bringing.
Yeah, that was the premise before we even started, wasn't it?
So,
something bad is going to happen. Yeah.
So I sort of was leaning in. You didn't know that?
If I had known that,
this is why it's hit you so hard.
Oh my god!
Is that why you're in the forest?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, so well, okay. The idea was that there was something bad going to happen to our hometown.
I like this campaign now.
So I was gonna try and bring in the how do I make everything better? Everybody's upset. Our houses are on fire. It's fine. So I still lean into that a bit, but I'm a druid instead. So I sort of have the like the flower language and things like that, which is
nice. It's you give gifts all the time of I want to say something to you, I want to speak to you, and it's quite beautiful.
I mean, to be fair, with the whole, I knew I was going to be a halfling no matter what, but that's also because of my current obsession. So like that was always going to be a given. But the druid part was sort of, I won't say forced upon me, but yeah, it was
forced upon you.
It was forced upon me and the subclass.
Okay.
It's fine. I can live with it.
Anyone else like to talk about why their class? I guess we've lent into it a little bit, haven't we?
Which one's our class? Is barbarian my class?
Yes.
Rather than my what's a furbog? Is that my?
That's your like ancestry. Your race was what it used to be called, and then we've transitioned to the term ancestry.
Okay. I think what I really wanted to explore was the idea of what do we do when we have all of this, when we have power and strength and rage when things aren't the way they're supposed to be, but we don't, instead of adding to it by just jumping right into the fray and using violence to tackle violence? What does it look like to interrupt that? I think that's what we've just talked about in episode 6, isn't it? Of I know that I feel deep anger, and instead of that being a point of shame that I feel this anger, and that's been a journey in my adulthood of accepting the fact that I have human emotions, and some of those emotions are not delightful and lovely and sweet all the time, but actually they're great big emotions that can be scary. And I wanted to work out, what does it look like to handle emotion and handle response to that in a way that interrupts and disrupts and subverts the patterns that the universe, in this case the D&D universe, is wanting me to go towards. It would be really easy for me to play a barbarian and just go with all the violence. Most of my strength and power is when I go into a rage, and I can cause far more damage by allowing that to take over as if I had no control. Whereas what I can do is use that and switch it so it becomes a protective role rather than a violent, you've hurt my friend, so I'm going to absolutely destroy you. And it's that kind of intentional thing where I believed all of my life that it wasn't okay to feel angry. And so what that meant was that when I did feel angry, even in the face of injustice, I became just obsolete. I couldn't act because I was spending so much time internally battling with the fact that I felt rage in the first place. So when I was talking to Tim and going, this is what I want to explore, how do I do that in a universe and with controls that I don't understand, because this is an unfamiliar platform to me. So it's been a kind of collaboration between me and the DM, so that I can have that external monologue with myself and address the fact that to feel emotions is a perfectly human thing to do. And actually it can be a force for good, and just figure out what does that look like? What does that become? So.
No, thank you, Becca. What was interesting is that we didn't know any of these, and just as we've kind of started to talk about already, we don't know all these other conversations that we've been having with the DM and each other. And so for me, it was a journey for me, kind of working with, like, as Nugget with Minerva and as me as a player. And so as me as a player, I'm there going, what is Becca doing? Of course, the whole system is the
whole system is that we do violence and war.
And yet I knew that Nugget was on a journey, and therefore kind of this is his reaction is played out with how do I react to Minerva, and suddenly there is a lot of respect between Nugget and Minerva. I don't know exactly where that's going to lead or how, if it's always going to be there, but I think there's definitely kind of like a Nugget is watching Minerva and seeing how she acts, but he's also coming to terms with him being the underdog, him being mistreated as a youngster, and well, all throughout his life as like sort of basically a slave, and kind of how he needed to react to break the cycle. And so it's really kind of interesting, and just not to say the fact that we hadn't really talked about it, and yet it's just like, so yeah, folks, as you kind of listen to kind of I've listened to chapter 6, this is us real time working this out, so I hope it's
and it's about like Shelby talking about finding their truth and that authenticity. This is about me going, if I have faith in something outside of myself that is pure goodness, pure love, and I am a part of that life force, then what does that mean and how I turn up in the world? What values are going to drive my choices and my actions? And before we came on, I was saying, more often than not, I'm sitting back rather than I won't rush into the fray, because I'm still trying to figure out what is the subversive thing to do. And even if that's then moving something, which we'll do later on. That it's the kind of hesitancy of, I don't know what I don't know, so I'll wait and I'll watch and I'll observe. But it is fun. It's fun to play with.
And just for me with Nugget is the fact that I love being a sorcerer. That is my class of choice. I've only been it once before. I was wild magic sorcerer in my first campaign, my very first character, and because of the wild magic, every kind of encounter that you do, you roll the D100.
It's, every spell slot above cantrip, pretty much.
Yeah, you roll a D100 at the beginning of your go. Or
I think just after you've done the spell.
Yeah.
So after you've done the spell, then you roll.
Yeah, and it was a fireball centered on self. And it pretty much obliterated me completely and nearly took out the whole party. If it wasn't for an NPC hiding behind a corner, which I'm fairly sure the DM just put there to rescue, or otherwise it would have been a TKP, and so I've returned back to sorcerer because I like the idea of it, but I also like the idea of, because Nugget doesn't know about himself or his identity, his ancestry, to actually have something that he can draw upon within that is magical in nature and otherwise. I quite like that juxtaposition of actually that is something that he can depend on, and again I think that's going to be his journey of, well, what does this, if he knows that he's got this power, what does it mean for him, and will he kind of, I don't want to kind of quote Star Wars, but will he go to the light side or the dark side and things like that, and explore these things of shadow self and things, and just it's quite fascinating really. But again, is intrigued with this party dynamic of Minerva, who is not wanting to kind of attack, whereas Asta is in love with the knights, and Kargoth is the kind of big hunter warrior. And I will say one last thing, because it does reference it in episode chapter 6, is about Nugget looks up to people and he would like to be tall one day. That is one of his aspirations, but he's just 4 foot.
That's
and so
why
he does.
He was giving me that look.
Well, he looks up to Minerva and Kargoth quite literally, so there is a little bit of something there. Kargoth, how about your character?
Well, usually I go with like a warrior or a ranger or something like that, and the one shot we had done, I loved it. I loved having a pet, and so I was like, let's try that again. But instead of something that kind of poofs, when he dies and then comes back, it was like, I want something more authentic, and so that's why I went the route that I went this time. So I actually have an animal as a pet instead of some corporeal or something mythical, or and now I'm coping with finding myself, because there was the town that he wanted to be part of a tribe. Orcs love tribes, and so the town was his tribe, and that was gone. So it kept moving, and he's learning that it's the people that make the tribe, not the location. And he's also coming to terms with the whole violence thing. He, like I said earlier in this episode or this show, that one-shotting that hyena at the beginning, in that first encounter was just like, so surprised. Everybody's just like, what? Because I shot the arrow and I was aiming for like a wound, to scare him, but instead it just killed him. It was unexpected. So
but your character is a hunter though, isn't he? So it's that interesting line to walk between.
When is it okay to kill? When is it so I'm kind of finding myself, finding a reason to not live. That sounds kind of dark, but finding his way in life,
Cool. Thank you. We have touched on a little bit of our chapter 6. Is there anything else that we'd want to say about chapter 6 and about the conversations about good and evil and a PhD in what was that?
Non-violence.
Yes.
In character.
Yeah. That's such an interesting concept, especially for Dungeons and Dragons, because it's typically a very combat-based tabletop RPG. There are other role-playing games that are less focused on the combat. And I think it's sort of like you're giving yourself an extra challenge to be non-violent in Dungeons and Dragons. I have played that before. I played as a paladin, and he was a dad. and he was just like, I don't want to kill anybody. Except again, I used the country accent, so he was like, I don't want to kill anybody. And I actually got away with a lot of it. It just depends on working with the right dungeon master and making sure that you sort of got the good, like, this is my idea as a character, and then it's sort of the dungeon master's job to not be to like help work around with each character. So like if you've got a player that has a character that does want to choose nonviolence, create more nonviolent options. Like you know somebody's going to go for it, so have it in your back pocket of like this encounter, could it be done without using violence? I mean, we were attacked by hyenas, so I don't know so much about like
there's various mechanisms that if I go into a rage, it's not just that it would increase how hard I hit, but it would increase the hits that I can take. And I think similarly with the item that I've received after the episode that you'll have listened to, hang on, let me click the button.
That's a definite spoiler, though.
That's lying.
I said potential item. It wasn't a specific. That then also gets triggered, and I think it's that kind of that awareness that if this is intentional choice, then what is, rather than there being a void of the absence of violence, but the presence of something else. Otherwise, you do create, ironically, a void. You create the nothingness and the inactivity. And I think, you know, where we look at the world around us, you've got people that are willing to be violent and dominant, and then you've got the people that are going, that's not okay. And if their only option is to sit there going, that's not okay, and do nothing, then you'll always have violence. Whereas if you have people that are proactively going, here is my strength, here are the tools that I have to hand, I can do that, you know, under my stats, then what am I going to proactively do where peace is the goal and not, you know, violence? Which is great. I think, you know, to do that in D&D, when kind of, you know, my values say there is behavior in the world that absolutely needs challenging and interrupting, whatever ism it might be, then to practice that in a safe space with an epic group of people, that's really fun.
Whereas I think for me, I think that Nugget is very squishy, as he references in chapter 6, and therefore I think he's going to feel backed into a corner a lot quicker than the 12-foot Furbolg. And so I think that's going to be an interesting 13-foot, 14-foot, 15.
We add a foot each session.
Keeps on grading.
It's only 13 when you're looking at her.
I think last session it was 17.
I can change my height visibly.
But yeah, I think it'll just be really interesting to see how we go, and we should kind of mention kind of our DM Tim, bless him, for kind of being able to react to all of our kind of abilities and the way that we want to tweak characters and otherwise.
I should mention I hear it all. I think I'm in a unique position though, in that I feel like I probably know more than I should as a player, and I'm gonna be a bit tooting my own horn here, but I think I'm pretty good at, as far as like not metagaming, in that I know that my character does not know this information, and therefore I will not act upon it. And I feel like that's just more beneficial to me, of like, cool, I got to think about like, do I even know this? No, I don't know this. This is nothing to me. But I like having the sort of insider privileges.
I think you probably deserve them.
Yes, definitely.
Especially since I didn't get to choose my character.
Well, yeah. We can have non-violent words if that's helpful.
No, it's totally fine. He's had enough
strongly worded documents.
Strongly worded arguments. No. I think that's the joy of Dungeons and Dragons, though, is that we do get to exploit parts of ourselves. I don't want to say people are playing it wrong, but if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons and you don't bring a bit of yourself into your character, I feel like are you having fun?
Yeah.
Just like you gotta have something about yourself that you want to explore and do in a sort of again, safe space is a good way to bring it because
So Mark is part. He likes playing with fire. Is that what we're getting?
right,
Here?
but like, is that what we're reading into
Who
this?
doesn't?
Listen, I made bonfires in my backyard as a child, but I had the hose right next to me.
Oh, that's
I
very
was
nice.
smart.
I actually do have a history of fire. So
I wish I was a wolf. Okay, when I was a child. Did everybody go through that phase? Just me? Okay.
It was just
I was definitely mermaid.
Yeah, we all had that moment.
I think I was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, but I think that's
That counts.
for other reasons. I find it. I do enjoy Dungeons and Dragons and kind of bringing out the kind of characters and parts of your personality. In the last campaign, I was a barbarian fairy, a female barbarian fairy.
I love it.
And I absolutely loved being her. But what was funny is that the DM kind of very quickly was like, "Oh, you can fly." and so I quickly kind of was like, "Oh yeah, I climb over this window, I fly over this big wall, this big barricade that looks very imposing and scary." And he was like, "Oh, I've not even thought about that." And I was like, "Well, we're there now."
Carrying a battle axe that was taller than you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I do enjoy that. But then the thing for me is, I think someone's microphone's clunking away.
Oh, it's me. I was scraping my nail against the microphone.
Sorry,
listeners.
I think for me though, it's when you are not naturally like something, or you've got to lean into your kind of shadow self, or where you're going, "Oh gosh, how does this work for this character?"
Yeah.
And
thinking before I speak, that's a flipping nightmare.
But again, I
slowing
enjoy that.
everything down. It's just, but that's why I started out just physically speaking slower as Minerva to just make it slow down in my head, which half the time I wish I could do that in real life and just hesitate sometimes before I speak. It's interesting how often heights come up, because I intentionally chose a tall character because I hate being tall. I've always hated being tall in the world. I don't want to be noticed in that way. So it's that kind of, what does it look like to not only embrace full emotion, but also just turning up physically in a world where I can pocket to, we've not done that yet, 2 things, spoilers, and that be okay, that that not make me feel any less of a person or uncomfortable about how I've turned up, but actually that be a gift in a situation where it was helpful to be able to use my shoulder holsters.
Use your size. Yeah. That's another thing I benefit from Dungeons and Dragons, is especially being able to explore aspects of yourself again in a safe space. You might not be able to be in a Dungeons and Dragons group where you can explore aspects of yourself, but that's exactly where I came to terms with the more non-binary aspect of myself, is because I want to say it was like a 3-year campaign where I was a transgender man as my character, and I was like, gosh, like we did, like a lot of that was as part of the character and exploring that, and so it helped me explore that for myself, and so that's good for other people of like, what's an aspect of myself that I don't particularly enjoy, and how can I embrace that as a character within Dungeons and Dragons, and maybe it'll bleed into real life kind of deal.
Yeah.
And I think this is why, as Faith and Gyuku, we're exploring this, aren't we? Is that it is this kind of framework in order to kind of push and pull and tweak and twiddle and think about ways of which we are human, or themes of violence, themes of humanity that we can kind of dabble and tease
values
with.
And connection and
that all sounds very
families,
doesn't it?
Family. So there is so much stuff. Which is kind of delicious. I think there's it's fun to do that. It's fun to, when do you sit around the fire with your friends and go as deep as we do by exposing our characters to each other and saying, this is what I'm exploring. I think there's a real privilege in that, and that's all through the power of storytelling. That it creates that safe space for us to metaphorically travel together, and it's great.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very good. I think we're coming towards an end. Do we think? But I think
got another hour.
Oh yeah, totally.
But what I would say is, and something that maybe we haven't touched upon yet, is we're also doing this and recording it, and I think that's also got to be acknowledged. Is that I've played D&D, for about 6 or 7 years, and doing this suddenly in front of camera. And needing to know about your character, needing to have things to hand, and to kind of be aware of not only kind of your dynamics and kind of chatting about it, but also they're kind of going, what is this like for the story? And that is where kind of me as Mark versus Nugget is kind of like, sometimes I'm there going, gosh, will Nugget actually say something like this, or am I just wanting the story to run on a bit and jogging it on a bit? But Nugget is chaotic neutral, so I'm quite happy with that. But again, the other side of it for me is the fact he's really charismatic, and I don't really put myself in the same boat as him. So I have to kind of purposefully launch myself, but at the same time, I'm just aware of this kind of whole idea of doing it on screen in front of people, and how we work together and to talk about it. So I think again that is challenging as well, of just not only working through themes, not only kind of bringing our individual characters, the dynamics of the group, it's also then kind of going, oh gosh, we're doing this in front of people. And again, I think it's fun, it's hilarious, but blimey, it feels as if it's a learning curve, and you just kind of
and we've gone back and forth with when to have mics on, when not to have mics on. Is it distracting? Is it not distracting? Is the laughter and the aside comments helpful or not?
Oh, if only they saw the side chats that went on.
I know.
Yeah, so a glimpse behind the screen that we do actually have a little personal private chat that we can talk to. So there will be occasions where it's usually when our DM is saying something really kind of meaningful and whispery, and what you'll see is a muted screen of people laughing at one another, going, and we're not giving it away because there are kind of various bits and pieces that unfortunately disappear at the end of each session, so we are not able to share those. But it is a bit of a glimpse of like how we communicate with one another through the screen, through the kind of computer, without giving anything away, without kind of interrupting. But I'm really glad that we did the one shot very early on with our other characters, because I think we learned, I personally learned a lot of this, and kind of understanding that actually doing it through StreamYard, other things are available, to actually kind of mute and camera control, because having to deal with that in person and having to level microphones when you're all in the same room, that none of that side chatter can be muted in any way, shape or form. And,
and you need a studio and several cameras and
and individual microphones that are all plugged in and recording separately that you can auto level.
Absolutely that. So it's been so I'm really relieved and glad of this setup, because it does enable editing a little bit easier, especially when we're not all clicking and tapping and otherwise.
Well, that wasn't me that time. That was definitely
that way for me.
No,
see, I mute myself if I type. You can hear that my keyboard.
I am kidding anyway, but it's been is there anything else left to talk about or say or otherwise?
What were the other 3 questions?
We have 3 other questions we could have gone over.
The other questions was the highlight of the sessions so far.
Definitely episode 6 for me. That the ability to just where the long walk, as it should be called.
Yes,
you could probably say that that's Tim's favorite, because he didn't have to do very much.
Yeah.
Being able to discuss everything that went on was
Mine's probably that hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
That's only
Fair
because I don't remember it at all. And it made me laugh the most.
I did enjoy chapter 10, but
I'm pretty sure that's the episode where I don't remember a thing. Yeah.
Something you're excited to explore is another question.
Ooh.
The rest.
The benefit of the DM being my husband is that when he creates NPCs, I can flirt with every single one of them to try and fluster him. And so it's like, who else are you going to bring? We got a blacksmith. That was hot. Great. Who else? Give me more. Give me more. So like
potential spoilers as well. I'm not sure.
Oh gosh, what blacksmith? You'll have to wait and find out. Maybe in the way, this is like an enjoyment aspect of like, ooh, I can't wait.
Ooh,
I can't
Shelby
wait to
flirting with the blacksmith.
Ooh,
I can't wait to
I think we all
explore the rest of my class. We're still growing. There's
we're all babies.
Amazing stuff that's going to happen, and some stuff that might put you to sleep for about 30 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
Spoiler. No.
I think this is it, isn't it? Because we are just kind of gently plodding into it, and we're slowly flexing. And I think it would be really interesting to see what happens when we come across more friction, more violence.
Yeah, we haven't been in like
void.
any super major things. The void. I'm interested in knowing more about that sort of like
Even though they don't know. Wait, do they know about the void? Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Well, do our characters know about it? Like as Killian is very just like, sure, that's what they say when anything bad happens, right?
Oh, because that's what the knights were saying. But we're like, what is it?
Yeah.
I think.
Do I need a vaccine?
I think Nugget brings this verbally. He does actually raise this question much in episode 10 or 11. I can't remember which one it is. The second to last one that we've just recorded in the future, or in our past, your future. And
Spacey Wacy.
This kind of is really this kind of moment of, oh heck, we definitely know about the divine. That void thing. Oh yeah, gulp. Gosh,
it's like when you find out that vampires are real, and you have to question whether all the other monsters are also real.
Yes.
I asked him if vampires were in this universe. I didn't get an answer.
Oh no! There goes the blacksmith.
We did look juicy.
Vampire bites for 100 gold. No.
Final question is question you have or loose thread you want to pull. To be really cheeky, I would just want to see how much kind of the DM has put into the world, and if it can.
I don't know anything.
Because I know that he's said that we've not come across a certain cohort of people yet, and things like this. And I just love like the exploring of someone's world. And
I mean, we've got like we're in one little continent, like one little country, as it were, for the world. Like our map that we promote through the visual streaming of the visual video of Epoch is just a little section of the world. So that is very exciting. Of like. Also, I think it's really fun in terms of like, what can we bring up that Tim hasn't prepared for yet? That he has to bring up on the fly.
I wasn't going to say that.
That's always a challenge.
It's the thread that I want to pull. I'm always trying to throw little like, can I do this? And watch this and suddenly go, yeah, you can. Like I suddenly have an idea. Let's do this. That's one of the things I enjoy is seeing how many little things I can throw into the gears.
And just seeing everyone's characters just kind of develop. That's kind of exciting. I kind of look forward to being comfortable enough with remembering the difference between my ancestry and my class and my subclass, and so that because you don't sit there thinking I'm a human who is British, I'm a human who is British who is white, I'm a human who is British You just don't do that on a normal interaction. When we're having a chat, I'm not sitting there going, what powers do I have at the tips of my fingers? So just kind of being fluent in the mechanics so that they become second nature. I'll always be impatient with having to learn a new skill, but yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
I won't go into details, but I had to write all my stuff out because I just needed to try and get it into my head, all the various levels. And that might be the complexities of sorcerers and, kind of backgrounds, ancestry, subclasses, all this kind of stuff. And I've got to say, Tim did suggest my subclass, so I wasn't going to necessarily go down one avenue. But actually, I quite like the excitement of it. I quite like the challenge of it. Because again, it gives me something to kind of pull a thread on, especially as I've already played a sorcerer before, even though he died, to play it again and to kind of go, oh, but I went down that avenue last time. I'm going to go down this avenue this time, and let's kind of see what kind of what develops there and how to learn from that one. So yeah, cool.
It's good. I
Like
like this fireside chat.
Like the last one.
Say that again, Kargoth.
Oh, I was saying, I wonder if my pet will be a little thief like the last one in the one shot.
Yes, indeed. We will find out. But I think this is all for now, folks. Thank you for tuning in. We should mention that we have a Discord server with Faith and Geekery, which has a little kind of subheading with Epoch, so you can talk about all the various conspiracies, ideas, dynamics, characters, all that kind of stuff. Pies. That has been a bit of a sub conversation, hasn't it? There's kind of whole bits about that.
Started out as a comment made in the side chat that we have behind the scenes, and eventually that moved into here.
Yeah, and I think that was quite fun as well, actually, of the things that we had in mind, other, the audience and the community also kind of took on board as well. So that's been quite fun too. So so don't forget that there's a Discord as well, and there should be a link in the blurb about that as well. But thank you, folks. Thank you, Shelby. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Becca. And thank you,
Mark.
Tim, if you're listening. Let's see. Should we mention anything before we go, just in case, just to see whether Tim has listened to this?
Spoiler.
I almost feel like he's at the door, but
Oh, okay. Listening. Scratching.
just like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about me? Yeah.
Should we mention the poison pie? The poison pie. There we go. And see whether Tim.
That poison pie. Who did we give that to?
There was a pie that was poisoned.
Or
No,
was there?
That's the whole point. On that note,
Like to remember.
on that pie crust, we shall finish.
My friends.
Bye-bye.
Bye.